Dear students, I hope you are doing well. So, those who are following my classes, you know that our previous lesson topic was voice change, that is in English grammar, second part for class 9 and for class 10. Now, in my previous class, I told you that voice change is a grammatical item where we basically change the structure of the sentence. We don't change the meaning of the sentence. And there are two types of voice. One is active, one is passive voice. Basically, we transfer active to passive, or we transfer passive to active voice. Now, what is active voice? Active voice where subject is more powerful and subject is the doer who actually execute the action, and in passive voice it's just vice versa. So I also showed you a chart where I showed you how to change auxiliary verb according to tense in passive voice. Now I told you that you have to follow 5 steps to make passive voice from active. Those 5 steps were: the first step was you have to make subject into object and object into subject. So subject will be object and object will be subject. This was the first step. Now second step was, I told you that you have to bring an auxiliary, you have to identify the tense. So in second step we have to identify the tense, and also you have to bring or place an auxiliary verb. You have to bring or place an auxiliary verb according to that tense. Now third step was you have to make the past participle form of verb, that is, we can say V3, and fourth step was add by, and fifth step is already we know that object into subject into object. So that was the fourth step was about changing the passive voice. Now in your second paper English grammar, whenever you will sit for an exam, you will get these items, this voice change in question number 6. In question number 6 you will get some mixed sentences. For example, you will get some items of sentence transformation, that is simple, complex, compound. You will also get degree of adjectives, and another item will get active to passive voice. But you have to remember that you have to be very clarified about both active and passive voice, because in exam if some sentences will be given into active voice and you have to make that passive voice, and some sentences will be given in passive voice, you have to do that in active voice. So this one is the rule for making any passive voice, and active voice is just the vice versa. Okay, now today we will solve that problem of your previous board question by analyzing these 4 steps. The first step is, I'm repeating, the first step is making subject into object and object into subject. Second step is identify the tense, which tense it is, and according to that tense you have to bring or place an auxiliary verb. And I in previous class I showed you a chart where you can get all the auxiliary verbs according to tense. For present tense or present indefinite tense, you will bring auxiliary verb am, is, are. For past indefinite tense, you will bring auxiliary verb was, were. For future indefinite tense, you will bring auxiliary verb shall be or will be. And for present continuous tense, you will bring am, is, are, being. For past continuous tense, you will bring auxiliary verb was or were being. For future continuous tense, you will bring shall be being or will be being. That was the two kind of tense. The third kind of tense was perfect tense. For present perfect tense, you have to bring have or has been. For past continuous past perfect tense, you have to bring had been, and for future perfect tense, you have to bring shall be been or will be been. So this was the chart I discussed about in previous class. Now third step is past participle form of verb. That means you will get a verb, a principal verb in every sentences, whether it is passive or active. If it is passive, if you want to make it passive voice, you have to make the past participle form of the verb. For example, if the verb is eat, it will be eaten. If the verb is go, it will be went. If the verb is go, it will be gone. Go, went, gone. If the verb is write, it will be written. That means for making any passive voice, you have to make the past participle form of the verb. Okay, now fourth step is you have to add by preposition in passive voice. So this is basically the rule of passive voice. Okay. Now, I think that more about voice change you will get to know more about whenever we'll solve the problem. So let's start with question number board question 2019. In 2019, your question number was 6. In question 6, the voice change was C, question C, and the sentence was our life is not our life is not measured by months or years, and in bracket it was active. That means in 2019 board question you will get the question number 6 C, where the sentence was our life is not measured by months or years. First of all, we have already understood that the sentence is in passive voice because of this by, right? And in bracket you have given the instruction that you have to make it active voice because it has already been done in passive voice, so you have to transfer this passive voice into active voice. Now I told you before that you have to remember both about active or passive, because in exam you have to do both. You have to do active voice, active to passive, and you have to do also passive to active. Now how to do it active voice? First of all, as I told you, we have to identify the subject, right? So what's the subject here? Here the subject is our life. Since we know that subject will be object, fine. So write down the object here. Our life, right? object has been done into subject has been done into object. Now second step was we have to identify the tense. Now is not measured. Now here the auxiliary verb is, and we know for present indefinite tense we bring auxiliary verb am, is, are. That means this sentence is in present indefinite tense, right? So measured, that is past participle form of verb, will be measure. So we can write down here done. So it was first step, it was its second step. Now third one is, what is the object here? Here the object is months or years. This whole part is the object here. So we know that we have to make object into subject in active voice. So now here it will be months or years. Done. So it is subject. Now see one thing, here the sentence is in negative form, right? Is not measured. So we have to make this sentence also into negative sentence. Now months or years, what will be the negative word for this sentence? Well, we can write down do not. Right? Why do not? Because months or years is plural number, and that is why here it is do not. So months or years do not measure our lives. See, we have already completed the question. So from passive we have completed, or we have transferred the sentence into active voice. Now your second question was number G. The question was, so we should not waste time in vain. The question is, punctuation mark, comma, we should not waste time in vain, in bracket, passive voice. That means the instruction is you have to transfer this sentence into passive voice. It has been written down here. That means this sentence is in active voice, right? Now we already know how to do active to passive. The first thing is we have to identify the subject, right? But one thing, here you can see the so. So is an extension. In active or in passive, both type of sentences, you will get lots of extensions sometimes. But don't worry about extension, just let it be there. Because here the first extension is so we are letting it be here. We don't need to change it, okay? So next one is subject. So subject will be object. So we can make object of we, us. So here object is us. Next one is should not waste. See, here should is modal auxiliary verb, right? What is modal auxiliary verb? Am, should, shall, should, may, might, can, could, will, would. These are modal auxiliary verb. And we know basically after modal auxiliary verbs there's always the present form of the verb. Okay? So if I want to make it passive voice, we cannot make past participle form of the verb just right after modal auxiliary verb. So we have to bring be. See the word be. Whenever you want to make any passive voice and if you get modal auxiliary verb, you have to bring this word be, and after that you have to make the past participle form of the verb. So here should not, so should not be, sorry, here at first it will be not, then it will be, should not be, and waste would be the verb 3 or past participle form. So waste will be wasted. Wasted. Okay, next one is time. Time is what here? Time is object here, right? And we know that we have to make object into subject. So this object will be subject. So here it will be time. Time should not be wasted, then by. And we can write down us here. Okay, almost done. Now see here, in vain. In vain means what? In vain is a phrase. It means uselessly or fruitlessly. That means I am wasting time doing nothing at all. So here in vain is the extension here. And I told you that whenever you will get an extension, just let it be there. You don't need to change this, you don't need to worry about that, just let it be there or remain there. Now in vain will be here, as it is. In vain, full stop. Now see the sentence. So time should not be wasted by us in vain. See how simple it is. So let me recap. This sentence was in active voice, you have to do in passive voice. So what we did at first, we have placed so here as it is, then we had identified the subject, we made subject into object. So objective form of we is us, we wrote it down here. Next one is we identified the verb here. Here the verb is modal auxiliary verb, and we know that after modal auxiliary verb, whenever you want to make it passive voice, you have to bring be, that is be, and then you can make past participle form of the verb wasted. So should not be wasted. Then the preposition by here. Then time. Time is the object, so we have to make this subject. Then the extension in vain, we wrote it down as it is, in vain. Okay. Now this was the question from 2019, question number 6. Now let's solve the question 2018. Okay, now question number 18 of Dhaka board. In 18, similarly, you will get the question 6. From question 6, you will get the question of passive voice, question B. The sentence was, the province of a powerful prince was once attacked by young Toimur, right? And it was active. Now, this sentence, the province of a powerful prince was once attacked by young Toimur and is active voice. You have to do it or transfer it into active voice. Now how to do it? At first, we will identify the subject here. What is the subject here? The province of a powerful prince. So this is the subject here. Okay, now this is quite a lengthy subject, right? Long subject. So sometimes we may face difficulties to identify the subject. Remember one thing, whenever you will ask the question who or what, if you ask the question who or what, the answer you will get, that will be the subject. So also subject will be before verb. Here the verb is was. So before subject, before the verb, the whole part will be the subject. And if I ask the question who was attacked, the answer is the province of a powerful prince was attacked. See, I am getting the answer of subject by question who. So this whole part is subject. So we will make the subject into object. So you can write down here the province of a powerful prince. Done. We made subject into object. Right. Next part. Next part is identifying the tense. What is the tense here? We know the verb here is was. We can see that the verb here is was, auxiliary verb. And we know that for past indefinite tense, we bring auxiliary verb was. Right? Was or were. Since it is was here, that means the sentence is in past indefinite tense. So we have to make this verb participle form into past indefinite form. We have to make this past participle form into past indefinite form since the verb is in past indefinite tense. Okay, so attacked will be attack. Done. So this part is done. It was step number 1. Step number 2 complete. Okay. Now third step. By young Toimur. Now here it is object. So we have to make this object into subject. So young Toimur attack dash the province of a powerful prince. Now see here young Toimur is third person singular number, right? And we know for third person, since it's present tense, past indefinite tense, so we have to make it past indefinite tense. But if it were present indefinite tense, then maybe we could make it attacks. Okay, now the first step was identifying the subject. We did that, and after that we made this object. Second step was identifying tense. We identified that it is past indefinite tense, so therefore the verb will be past indefinite, attacked. And then the subject, object identification, and we made this object into subject. So young Toimur attacked the province of a powerful prince. Done? Okay. Now next question is, okay, next one was your question number D. The sentence was, The army killed Toimur's all soldiers. You have to make it passive voice. So the sentence is the army killed Toimur's all soldiers, and in bracket it's in passive. That means you have to do it in passive voice. Okay, so this sentence is an active voice, right? So we have to follow the step again. How? At first, identify the subject, the army. Okay, fine, write down the object here. Next one is identifying the tense. Killed is past indefinite tense. So we know past indefinite tense. For past indefinite tense, we have to bring was or were. Since here the object is, so we can write down where. Killed. Next one, object. We have to make object into subject. So Toimur's all soldiers. So it will be so it was our object. It was our object, so we made it subject. Then it was verb. Okay, then we have to do what is missing here. Okay, here the missing word is by. Right? So Toimur's all soldiers were killed by the army. From this one to this one. And see here, auxiliary verb is were, because it's very simple. For plural form, we use plural verb, plural auxiliary verb. For singular subject, we use singular verb. Okay? Okay, so 2018 question has been solved. Now we will go for 2017. Question number 2017, Dhaka board. So here, question number 6, sentence B. The first sentence is, she is respected by everybody. She is respected by everybody. You have to do it in active voice. Right? So that means this sentence is in passive voice. You have to do it in active voice. That has been written down in instruction here in bracket. Now again, following the same step, the first one is identifying the subject here. She will be her. Objective form. Is respected. Is present indefinite tense, right? For present indefinite tense, we bring auxiliary verb am is are. So here it is present indefinite tense. So we have to make this main verb or principal verb into present indefinite tense. So respected will be respects. Okay, respects. Next one, by, don't need here because we want to do active. Everybody is the object here, so make it subject. So, done. Everybody respects her. This is the active voice. Now, why here is because of this everybody. Subject. We are counting everybody as singular subject. Okay? Now, second question was, second question, 2017, there was only one question of voice change. Now let's go for 2016. 2016. The first question of 2016 was B, voice change. The sentence was, books introduce us to the realm mean kingdom of knowledge. You have to do it in passive voice. Done. Sorry, it will be no full stop here. Okay. So this sentence was in active voice. You have to do it in passive voice. Now, how to do passive voice? The first thing is identifying the subject here. What is the subject here? Book. So here it will be object, books. Next one is identifying the verb, introduce. Books introduce. Here it is present indefinite tense, right? Introduce, books introduce. Okay. Now for present indefinite tense, we know we have to bring auxiliary verb, am is are, right? Now, should we bring auxiliary verb am or is or are? Okay, before identifying that, we have to identify the object here. Here, the object is us, and we know for plural subject, plural verb. So here, the auxiliary verb will be are, and introduce will be introduced. Next one is object into subject. So we. The subjective form of us is we. It is the subjective form of us, right? Subjective form of us is we. We are introduced Okay, see one thing. Here, there's an extension to the realm of knowledge. See? To the realm of knowledge is the extension here, and we know if you get an extension, just let it be there. You don't need to change it, you don't need to change the place of it, you don't need to worry about that. So, we are introduced by books, then to the realm of knowledge. See one thing, even if you wrote down this extension here, still it's right. If you write down this extension to the realm of knowledge here before by, still it's correct. So extension doesn't matter. If you follow the correct structure, examiner will give you full marks. Even if you replace, even if you change the extension, place of extension. So we are introduced by books to the realm of knowledge. That is the passive voice. Now second question is, question number G. The sentence was, more and more books should be read.